And it was funny because I had to take a $100,000 loan out. And I'm sure you know, when you take a loan out, literally from one day to the next, you have a huge influx of cash flow all of a sudden. And I had an influx of $100,000 come in, and 2 weeks later my account was actually under 100,000. And I was like, holy crap, I was a couple weeks away from actually going negative on this sucker, you know? So it was definitely an awakening moment.
Welcome to Think Business with Tyler, sharing our methods and strategies for success. Join in on our conversations with business owners as we highlight their triumphs and detail how they overcame the challenges they faced while continuing to grow and scale their business. It's time to think life, think success, and think business with your host, Tyler Martin.
What if hitting $500K in income nearly destroyed your business? That's exactly what happened to Vince Perri. In this episode, he opens up about the year his firm looked wildly successful from the outside while bleeding cash on the inside. We talk about what went wrong, how trusting the wrong experts nearly sank him, and the systems he built to dig out. If you've ever hired a CFO, a COO, or a CMO and hope they just figure it out, this conversation might hit close to home. Let's get into it. Hey, Vince, welcome to the Think Business with Tyler podcast show. How you doing?
Oh, Tyler, I just saw your website and I saw your video. And like you said before, no, I did not fall asleep. It was very interesting. And I'm very excited to be on the show.
Okay. You know, based on my Google data and analytics, 9 out of 10 people fall asleep after they see my video. That's what I've heard, at least from Google data analytics. Of course, I'm kidding.
Well, if it makes you feel better, you jumped on when I was, I think, in financial strategy number 4. So I watched almost the whole thing.
You almost made it. That's cool. I really appreciate that. Hey, all jokes aside, I'd love to learn a little bit about you. I'd love to start with just learning what you do professionally.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah. So I'm a licensed and certified business broker, and I also consider myself an exit strategist. The reason why is I don't just work with businesses and owners that are ready to sell. It's not really my main target. I mean, ultimately, that's the goal, right? I do want to help a seller ultimately list their business, put all their financials together so that it's just marketed and ready to sell. We find the buyers and we go ahead and proceed with that. But what I'm really trying to drive home right now is something that I've created called a value clarity report, which basically it doesn't matter. I would say the target audience is probably 3+ years in business, anywhere just over 500,000 and over $1 million in gross revenue, of people that I think, and I'm sure you would agree, should always be thinking about not so much exiting their business, but they should be thinking about the valuation of their business, because if they could think of their business as its own product, as its own dollar amount and thing that is, you know, wrapped in a package in a nice silver bow, and this is the company, if people could think of their business like that, then it really gets them to focus on their business as opposed to just constantly working in that hamster wheel. That's my biggest focus with these reports. Is really what I focus on is 3 things, which is clean financials and cash flow, recurring revenue, and business that is not owner dependent. If you can knock out those 3 things amongst everything else, then you have a nice package deal there.
Does cash flow have you down? Profit not where you think it should be? Maybe it's the long hours. Let's meet to see if I can help. I bridge driving the financial performance of your business to hit growth and success targets. Book a complimentary meeting at meetforgrowth.com to get started now. Once again, that's meetforgrowth.com. I look forward to talking with you. And thanks for listening to the show.
And business that is not owner dependent. If you can knock out those 3 things amongst everything else, then you have a nice package deal there.
That's great stuff. We're going to get more into that. I want to jump to one other thing and then start with a couple questions I have for you. What about on a personal level? Is there something you could share with us that maybe people don't commonly know about you?
I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wow, really?
And in January, I'll be climbing Mount Aconcagua, which would be 3 out of the 7 tallest mountains and peaks in the world. That's my goal, one of my goals.
So you're like borderline crazy.
It's not climbing what you think. It's basically a long, super inclined hike, I would say.
Okay, man. This tells me a lot about you. You're definitely the guy I want representing me on a deal. I can tell. Like you'll look them in the eyes and not blink at all. That's nothing compared to probably being on one of those mountains. Okay, let's dive in here a little bit. I want to talk about, let's take us back. What were you doing? One of your businesses, and I know as you're transitioning here, you have an asset portfolio, and one of them is public adjusting. I want to go kind of before you were in that business. What were you doing? Like what take me back 10 years and before you felt like you really made it. What were you doing? And let's talk that through.
Simple. I mean, tennis was a big part of my life.
Okay.
I played tennis throughout most of my life. I did play college tennis for a short time. And then as soon as I got out of college, mainly out of high school, throughout college, I just started teaching tennis. At the time when you're, 17, 18, 19 years old and, you're making 50, 60, 70 bucks an hour on the tennis court, just playing tennis, at the time it was a great little job to be in, making more money than most of my friends and just out there playing a sport. And that just led into being tennis director of one facility, then tennis director of another facility, then the head pro of another one, until eventually I actually had my own tennis academy for 5 years. And tennis was just a really, really big part of my life throughout growing up, during college. And then I was a coach for 15 years.
Wow. Now, you said something that really struck me. You said takes 10 years to really make it. What do you mean by that?
I mean, Malcolm Gladwell just stuck that into my brain. I forgot the name of the book. Is it The Tipping Point?
Tipping point, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he says it's 10,000 hours in 10 years. And I remember when I first became a public adjuster, within the first year, I joined a BNI networking group. And I still felt like I was, obviously I was just new. I didn't really know much. And I forgot when I read that book. It was probably 2, 3, 4 years into my career. And I remember saying, man, when I'm doing this for 10 years, I'm going to be an expert. And I actually remember when I was 10 years and I literally got up in the meeting because I was still part of the same group. And I was just like, I'm your expert public adjuster. And it's true because it does take about 10 years of just trial and error and learning new things, because any business you're in, any occupation you're in, there's always something new that you're learning, even well after 10 years. But man, I'll tell you, after 10,000 hours in 10 years, you've pretty much seen most of all the things that you're going to see. And that's when I feel like you can sort of give yourself that expert status.
Yeah, that's so true. So, revenue can be a big liar sometimes. And I know you had a year where you made 500K. Your firm was like raking in revenue. You're feeling really good. And yet you were almost broke. You almost went broke. Talk to me about that story a little bit.
So that's kind of a mix of two stories there. Okay. So the 500K,
Yeah.
you're going to laugh at this because the 500K, I wasn't actually the firm owner at the time. The 500K, I was a public adjuster working under another firm, but the way that we had our commission split, I mean, I was getting 80% of what we would get in commission, but that's because I handled everything A to Z, and I alone, without any admin help, just pure sales and handling all the claims A to Z, inspections and everything, I was able to make over $500,000 in that year. Wow. I think the year before I made over 400. The year after I probably did like 350 or 400. I had a good 3 or 4 year stretch where it was just like roll, and I had no overhead. It was great. Wow. It's like the grass is always greener on the other side. I always laugh at those people who just, actually, you show the Michael Scott video where he wanted to go and start his own paper company. It's like the grass is always, I could just do this myself. The rock bottom moment came in entrepreneurship when I had started my own firm. I was on my own.
This is in 2023, right?
This is now 2023. Okay, the 500,000, that was probably like 2020, 2019, probably right before COVID. And I had started my firm, and I had already started my YouTube channel, and that was starting to gain a lot of popularity in my industry. And we had a hurricane hit, and I must have had 12 adjusters working under me. And I think we had probably 15 or 16 employees working for me as well. Hurricane Ian hits, and there's just a flood of claims coming in. And I'm like positive that I could make all these hires because we're going to have all this cash flow come in eventually. We don't know when it's going to come in, because when you're in the insurance industry, not only do you not know how much you're going to make, you don't know when that money is going to actually come in, when you actually settle the claim. And yeah, fast forward a year after that, my expenses, my payroll was so freaking high. It was so much that I was paying every single month, every 2 weeks, that it just started to catch up. And eventually, I had to take a loan out. And it was funny because I had to take $100,000 loan out. And I'm sure when you take a loan out, literally from one day to the next, you have a huge influx of cash flow all of a sudden. And I had an influx of $100,000 come in, and 2 weeks later, my account was actually under 100,000. And I was like, holy crap, I was a couple weeks away from actually going negative on this sucker, you know? So it was definitely an awakening moment. I had to let go of a lot of people, which literally there is not one firing that really ever goes as you think. It's never fun. You think it is. You think they're expecting it, but they act like they're not, and they know that they're. It was a wild, wild ride. It was a wild experience, but I look back at it now, and it's honestly the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The best learning experience that I have ever had, probably in my entire life.
Take me through what was the fix like as you were going forward so you didn't find yourself in a similar situation after you had that challenge.
It was too much overhead. It was like your video. I'm like, keep going back to your video. It's not really getting control of your cash flow. It's
Okay.
not getting control of your accounts receivables. It's not having enough sort of like, backup income or just like a safety fund or safety money that you could have just in case you have some dips. I never was able to really nail down the predictability of when I would be getting cash flow because again, insurance claims, it's so difficult. I mean, I had finance coaches and finance advisors and accountants and all these people. And nobody was really able to figure out like, you're going to get this money then, you're going to get this money then. And the thing is the reason ultimately why I failed and why I wasn't able to really keep it scaling was because of a lack of confidence. I kept relying 100% on my COO. I relied 100% on my CFO. I relied 100% on my CMO. But the problem is if you're in a particular niche industry, even though I would also say that a business is a business, like they're all the same, if you're in a particular niche like claims and public adjusting, where there's just not too many of us that do what we do, there really is nobody better at knowing what's going on within the business than the actual business owner. And there are times where that business owner, if they're lacking confidence and they don't have what it takes to really just say, no, CFO, you're wrong about that. This is how it actually is because I've been doing this for 15 years. No, head of operations, that's not going to work because I've been doing this for 15 years and I know this is going to work. And where the ultimate failure came, it came on me. It was me not stepping up and just saying, well, he's smarter than me. He's a COO. He'll get it right. That CFO knows numbers more than me. She'll get it right. And I should have gone with my gut. And that was the biggest learning experience of them all.
But Vince, you bring up a great point because there's a lot of business owners out in the audience that, they hire people like me, or they hire operations people, or they hire a CMO, a fractional CFO, and these people come in and they're theoretically experts in their area. And the owner oftentimes is feeling insecure, uncomfortable about what they do or don't know about the business. You had to learn from hard knocks, which is great that you learned, and not great that you had to go through it, but great that you learned. How does someone, do you think, like, what should they be doing when they've got advisors around them in questioning decision-making of the advisors, as opposed to just taking them at point blank face value?
That's a great question. I'm going to answer it though from the advisor's perspective.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm more in the advisor role where I'm looking at a company. When I sit down with a company now and I'm talking to the owner, I like to ask questions as if I know nothing. I like to be, and I literally tell them, I'm only asking this because I don't know your industry the way you do. And I love to ask questions and get a real true understanding of exactly how it works. Because again, although a business is a business is a business, every industry is slightly different. And I like to reaffirm to the owner of the company that, you know what, you're the expert. Right? You're the expert at what you do. You've been doing this for as long as you've been doing it. I need to ask you, and I need to come here like an open book and just say, like, tell me exactly how this business is run. And if you're looking at it on the other side where you're hiring these experts to do what they do, I mean, the only thing I would say, which is honestly the way I live my life now, is go with your gut. Like if you're the business owner, you should not be hiring because of a lack of knowledge in a particular thing. I feel like you should be hiring because it's something that it should be just something that you're taking off of your plate. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're every business owner starts handling all the finances and everything, right? So whether they're good at it or not, they have an understanding of how their business works and the financial aspect. They have an understanding of how their operations works. They have an understanding of how their marketing works. And if they bring an expert in, I think it should be the business owner that's actually teaching the expert advisor as to here's how things are done here. I understand that you have a way of doing things, but just let me give you an understanding of sort of how things are done here. And let's work together as opposed to like, I'm just going to lean on you for everything. I think maybe from the advisor standpoint, they should speak to the business owner and just give him or her sort of that leeway and that opportunity to really like, take control of it, because ultimately it's their baby. Like, you're just coming on and I'm just coming on as an advisor. It's not my company. Like, if, that's what would get me upset too, in a way, was all the advisors that I had, it's no loss to them. I'm just a client. They can go on to the next one.
Right.
Like,
Move on.
it all falls on the business owner. And I think as advisors, we need to understand like there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And we're going to like be feeding off you so we can understand to make sure that this is successful.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I do kind of want to continue on just the challenge of the cash flow problems that you face. And it sounds like, okay, relying on advisors was part of it. Is there any methodology or anything that got introduced as you were continuing that helped you kind of solve this problem?
Profit first has been a game changer.
Yeah. Talk about
Profit
it.
first.
Share a little bit about it, how you implement it.
Yeah, so I read the book, fell in love with the whole process. I just immediately went and I self-implemented. Thankfully, I've actually had the same bookkeeper now for probably about 7 years, and I actually fired her during that whole turmoil, and I brought her back after I let everyone else go. She actually lives in the Philippines.
Wow.
She's like a VA type thing, but she's a accounting graduate. She was an accounting instructor at a university in the Philippines. Like, she knows her stuff. And I immediately self-implemented. I immediately asked her to buy the book, read the book, and we self-implemented. And it was a little bit difficult to do it on our own. So I actually hired a Profit First certified coach. And every single week, Tyler, like every week, I get two things. I get everything distributed from the revenue that we made for the previous week. And I just personally like waking up in the morning. And because she lives in the Philippines, this is how it is. I wake up in the morning, I get a weekly snapshot of all my businesses and my personal, between my wife and I and our household. And we basically treat our home as well like a business. And we don't follow Profit First with our home, but with the 3 active businesses that I have now, everything is separated into at least 5 different accounts.
Wow. Talk to me about, what did the coach do? Were they just helping you implement the allocation system, or what did the coach help you do?
She really helped me go back to 12 months. Right. And like really just give me an exact breakdown of the operations and the operating expenses and how much we should allocate. Like, we were still a little unclear as to how much should we allocate to profit, how much should we allocate to taxes, owner's distribution, so on and so forth. And then a little bit, I still have her, by the way, and a little bit like on a quarterly basis, like, all right, we just finished a quarter. All right, I'm holding you accountable for taking a bonus because you guys made profit. That was always nice. But also like, all right, we have target allocations that we want to get to that we're not quite at yet. So now just sort of holding us accountable and giving us a good idea is, okay, now here, actually at the end of June, we're going to reallocate. We're going to increase some of those allocations. We're going to make sure that we're taking the money away from the profit account. And we're going to just sort of like, shift things a little bit towards the end of the quarter here.
Very cool. Wow. That's cool. I like how you're getting that coaching and hand-holding and you use the word accountability, which is super powerful, of just following through with the methodology. Because I think what I see a lot of times is people read the book, they try to implement it and quickly get confused, and then they're off to something new or forget to do it altogether.
One thing I've learned from my business coach is that if you're going to take something, if it worked for somebody, you should go all in on it for at least 3 months. But the problem is, and then if you don't like it or if it's not working, then you can pick and choose the stuff that you like. But if it worked for somebody and you don't go 100% all in, then it ain't going to work the same for you. You already know that. So that's one thing that I've implemented over the last year is, for example, our marketing strategy is very Alex Hormozy. And he's got a way that he does it. 100 calls a day. I'm making 100 calls a day. And then you have to put the ads. I'm doing it exactly like him. And it's been very successful, as opposed to before, I'd read like Profit, Simple Numbers, or I'd read some other book and I'd be like, oh, I like that. And I like that. And it never really truly worked the way it works in the book. And that's because none of us are ever really all in.
Right. That's how, well, unfortunately, that's how we are as humans. We just always want to tweak it or change it, or just the parts we like about it. And then when we don't get results, and I'm included in this, unfortunately, we're like, oh, it doesn't work. Well, maybe it's because we didn't follow the methodology.
Exactly. To a T.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, another thing you said that really I thought was a cool thing. You said the real flex isn't a seven-figure business. It's one that runs without you. Now, we hear that. I hear that in different itinerations a lot, but I love the way you said it. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I think there's like a process to it, right? So, and I'm telling you that I know the process because I went backwards in the process.
Right.
So, when I was scaling my company and I knew that we were going to start generating some really, serious revenue, I went straight to leadership and C-suites. And I didn't do that right. I believe that if you are starting a company, you could go ahead and you could do everything. I separate everything into about 5 different rungs of a ladder, right? You've got your administrative, you've got the delivery of the actual product or service, you've got your marketing, you got your sales, and then you've got leadership. And the first person you need to hire, no matter what, is somebody who does and handles all the administrative stuff. If you're the business owner and you're a landscaper, for instance, I know you do home services, you cannot be bogged down with sending invoices and making sure everything's organized and you have everybody's addresses and phone numbers in a particular place. You can't be doing that. Luckily, we live in a world where you could hire somebody, honestly, between $5 and $10 an hour online that can handle everything because it's all in the cloud. So I tell all the people in my mastermind group, I have a public adjuster mastermind. I tell them all, like, guys, I understand you're not making a lot of money, but it doesn't cost money to just offload 10 or 20 hours to somebody for $8 an hour in the Philippines that can help you with a lot of these things. Then the next thing is the delivery. To me, like, that's a really important one because you are the face of the organization and you cannot be the face all the time. Owner dependency just really falls down to you being the bottleneck.
Right.
If you do not get yourself out of the business, you become the bottleneck of the business. So if you could have somebody handle administrative, have somebody handle the delivery, which is like delivery of the actual service or delivery of the actual product, now you could focus on marketing and then you could focus on sales and then you are the overall leader because then you could hire somebody for marketing to bring in leads. But don't even think about bringing a salesperson in until you already know that the marketing is working and bringing in consistent leads. Then you could bring in a salesperson to just close. And now you've got everything done. Administrative is done, marketing is done, delivery is done, sales is done. You could focus on leadership. And then from there, hopefully you could build within and create some leaders inside of your team. That's how I do it.
That's great stuff. What do you do though? Because a lot of times you'll see you have an open mind about this, but a lot of times, you're a small business, let's say between 1 to 10 million, they're closely held, sometimes family based. It's very challenging to, Helga or Maybell or whatever, the mother is running one department and then father's running another department, and the son might be running another department. And you've got this somewhat level of family friction, not open to, not even sometimes seeing their own problems yet, their ownership. How do you deal with situations like that? Or do you have an opinion on it?
Man, I just literally came across that situation. I'm helping a contractor here locally do that. And one of the questions that I asked, if you were to go away from your business for 30 days, what would happen to your business? And the wife was next to him and she's like, that's a good question because if we're all involved in the business, can we like never go on vacation again? I don't know, Tyler, I would actually put that question to you. What would you do? Like, I don't know if I could really answer that question. How do you handle something like that?
It's a great question. What I've seen in family-owned businesses is they rotate. So, maybe the husband and wife goes on vacation and the son has to step up and pick up the slack if they don't have cross-training throughout the organization already. And a lot of times small businesses don't. So that's usually what I've seen is it just kind of, it's usually the husband and wife takes time off and then the son takes time off and they're kind of rotating is what I would say.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but this is not a promo. I don't get any money for this, but loom.com is that's like my BFF, man.
Huge.
I use it for all of our systems and processes. Every single thing. We have everything in there. And then I have a system for the system, which is when you do the Loom, take the transcript, put it into AI, and then I have an actual format that we follow so that every SOP looks exactly the same. And we put it all into one folder, then we separate it into separate folders. And that helps a lot because, if anybody needs to leave, anybody can easily come in and pick up the slack. So I guess you're right. I could have answered that question pretty easily with the family thing. Yeah, as long as you have SOPs.
I thought you were trying to set me up to make me look semi-smart.
Yeah.
Hey, question. Do you remember when like you were able to step away from your business for a period of time, 2, 3 weeks, month, whatever, what did that feel like? Take me through that first time that you were able to do that when you did get to a point.
Yeah, I mean, now I have two businesses that basically run on its own. So
Really?
for my insurance claims, for instance, I literally meet with my admin once a week for 1 hour. That's the only time I
Wow.
handle any kind of claims, and my admin's able to do it. Honestly, it's thanks a lot to AI, to ChatGPT and stuff, because as adjusters, we need to review estimates, we need to review denial letters, engineer reports, and all kinds of stuff. I created a Loom video. I created a whole system based on, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the document, you're going to put it into AI, and you're going to ask it this specific questions, these specific prompts. I created my own claim companion GPT that is already knows everything and how to like evaluate it all. So she uses that. And then basically she either responds herself, but she's not a licensed adjuster. If there's something that requires a response from me, she'll create the entire draft. She'll leave it in the draft and let me know, hey, there's an email that I'm going to send on your behalf. You're going to want to read it first. And then that's really all I do with
Wow.
claims. And it's a
Wow.
great feeling. It's a great feeling, but it's taken time to get there. But the beauty of it is through the years, which is why it takes 10 years, right? Or 10,000 hours, is I'm launching something new now, and we're like on freaking hyperspeed right now. Cause like literally the whole vision, it's all on paper, it's all on a roadmap. We use Monday.com to like keep track of everything. And it's just like, boom. Well, like when I told them what the goal was for the end of the year, because we really just launched it this month, they're like, whoa. And I'm like, we're going to get there because of this, and this, and because of everything that we've been through. I've never had anybody quit on me, Tyler. I don't know if that's a testament to me. I've had to fire a lot of people. So a lot of people have been with me for a long time. And, you know, they're just like, wait, you're right. We've done all this already. We did it for this business and we did it for this business. Like we can do it here. It's like, yeah. And we made all those mistakes already. We're going to make some new mistakes now, but we've got the whole roadmap like laid out. We're going to get there at the end of this year. And they're just like, yeah.
If you're a business owner feeling stuck in your business, overwhelmed, responsible for everything that happens, and working long hours, Tyler helps his clients develop processes, hire high-performing team members, and better understand their financial metrics and numbers to allow for a more predictable, less hands-on business. To schedule a free, no-pressure consultation, head to thinktyler.com and click the meeting button. Tyler would love to see if he can help you work on your business, not in your business. Schedule a consultation today at thinktyler.com. Think life, think success, think business.
But we've got the whole roadmap like laid out. We're going to get there at the end of this year. And they're just like, yeah.
That's
You know?
awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is one area that a lot of businesses struggle. What would you say to someone that needs to start setting up this process type system? Or I mean, where do you start with it even?
I like to take a 30,000-foot view of your overall process. And I like for people to understand that everything you do in your life can be broken down into a process. From the moment you wake up to when you go to the bathroom and you brush your teeth and you put your clothes on, like we all follow a process. If you could just take a step back and look to see what that process is. So whatever business you're in, you have a way of just how you serve your client and how you go from literally from the lead or the referral to the completion of the job. That's the overall process. And then you can take that, you could break it down individually into separate little process inside of that. And it could be tough, right? It could be tough to put all that stuff on paper, but there's tools, you know, and there's a lot of great tools now that could really help you do that. AI being one of them, Loom being another one. And just start by hiring somebody. Like, I think people take too long to hire at least a part-time, you know, at least a part-time assistant, somebody that could help them just sort of take away the first thing. I mean, the other thing that you can do, Tyler, honestly, is also, I'm a big proponent of who was it? Dan Sullivan is the one that gave me the idea of strategic coach, is you go through a week and you write down all the things that you do for the week and what are the things that you just really hate. Those are the first things that you need to offload, because ultimately, I mean, again, I know I'm sure you know we watch a lot of stuff, but you want to get to the things that excite you and only energize you and try to just do that. You're always going to be a little bit involved in everything, especially a lot of these. I know you're dealing with probably a lot of the same business owners as me, that they're control freaks in the service industry. There's a lot of them
For
and they want to
sure.
be in control of everything. But with that, I tell them 80% is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. 80% is good enough. And then I also give them the 10-80-10 rule that I tell people that you're involved with 10% in the beginning, let them do 80% of the work, and you're involved in the last 10%. And then that's it. Other than that, you have to allow your team the opportunity to succeed and let them think themselves. When somebody comes to me, Tyler, with a question, I always 100% of the time tell them I don't know.
Is that because you really don't know, or is that forcing them to figure it out?
No, because I'm not answering the question. They need to figure it out themselves.
Okay.
There's a rule 131. I learned this from Dan Martell. If you have one problem, right, you need to come up with 3 solutions, and then you need to pick the one best solution of the 3 solutions, which basically eliminates me completely. So what happens is they know that I'm going to say that now every time. So when they come with a question, did you do the 131? They'll do it. And then that's it. After 1 or 2 times, they do it themselves and they figure it out already. So I don't, like I said, like my girl who handles all my claims and stuff, I literally texted her. We meet every Thursday. I texted her last Wednesday. This is last week. And I said, are you alive? She's like, yeah, I'm all good. Everything's good. I'm like, that's amazing. Like she never even messaged me once throughout the entire week.
Wow. That's cool. That's where we all want to be as far as running a business. So, hey, before we wrap up, I do want to spend a little time talking about content, monetizing content. You obviously have a decent presence, a nice presence on YouTube, and you're built community. Talk to me a little bit about that. What was your strategy in terms of getting into that? Or is it your goal? Is it for revenue purposes? Is it for just public awareness? Like, talk to me about it.
The original goal with the commercial claims advocate was recurring revenue. I was trying to find a way that I can do. I honestly, in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have gone in a different direction of recurring revenue, knowing what I know now. But we don't have to get into that. It's basically, how can I make money in public adjusting without having to go to every single claim and work every single claim and wait for when the next claim is going to come? So I started just creating some content. But as soon as I started creating the content, initially it was going to be for the consumer. But I felt like the consumer, and I could have been wrong about this. Again, I probably would have gone a different direction, although it's worked out great. I didn't think the consumer would be interested because nobody cares about a claim until they actually have one. So I just decided, 10 years of experience at the time, I consider myself an expert. Let me just train the public adjusters and be the mentor that I didn't have in my first year, but then I did have from year 2 to like year 10, where I actually worked for a very small firm, and my mentor and owner of the company, Richard, was like always there for me and always there to answer my phone. I'm like, let me be him to basically every other public adjuster in the entire country. And man, it just scaled. It scaled pretty fast. And I had, I have several workbooks that I sell, and I've got a course that sells online, and I've got a mastermind that I do that people pay every single month or every 3 months or every year. And it's just consistent revenue. It's not a ton, but it's a pretty good amount where I'm able to pay myself a nice salary from it and get the profits. And, it works out nice. I don't have to do much, except, honestly, since all the courses are recorded, everything is just there online. People purchase every single day. It's not a ton, but it's consistent. All I do is 1 hour a week mastermind. That's it.
Wow.
And it's all from social media. It's all from marketing, social media, all organic, weekly content. 5 years, Tyler. I've never missed a Wednesday on my YouTube show.
Crazy. And then how does that work? Do you get people that are feeding into that mastermind group through the course, and you're just constantly having a new inflow of mastermind folks?
Yes. So there's several nurture sequences that we have. So whether you want to get the free guide and the lead magnet, or you purchase our low ticket, which is $47, or you purchase our mid ticket, which is $297. Any of those 3 things that you get puts you into a nurture sequence that usually leads you to a free webinar that I've recorded, how to scale your business to 6 figures. And at the end of that webinar, I offer the bundle of all of our courses. Whether they watch the webinar, if they register, but they don't watch, there's a nurture for that. If they watch it to the end and they don't buy, there's a nurture for that. If they buy, there's a nurture for that. And all lead to basically a call with one of my sales reps to sign up for the mastermind.
Have you seen any change with AI now getting better and better, and people being able to get really good information off of AI? Has that changed any of your enrollment for courses? Have you seen a reduction or any impact at all?
No, I haven't seen. I will tell you that I got in a fight with ChatGPT all day today. I was really pissed off with it.
Who won?
Well, I think I won. But I had to redo an entire thing that I was doing. So I guess she won. I always say she.
Okay.
I am in the process of creating in my first AI agent
Okay.
for these reports that I'm doing for the business owners. And I'm curious to see how that goes. I don't have enough information to tell you yet, but I'm pretty excited about it.
That is cool. What's your lesson for us in terms of like going into the space of YouTube and then turning it in just content in general and turning it into a small business? Like, because it sounded like, I don't want to say you fell into it, but it kind of, the niche kind of evolved as you were doing it and it turned into something. Like, is there a lesson there for other people that maybe aren't thinking of that as an opportunity?
Yeah, I didn't fall into it. I knew what I was getting into. I
Okay.
had created a travel channel with my wife before that. That
Ah,
totally fell flat. And when I was trying to figure out a way to monetize that YouTube channel, I was like, wait, what am I doing? I'm trying to do travel when I've been a public adjuster for over 10 years. Let me just do a public adjuster channel. Did some research to see if there was any competition. No competition at all. So I went all in. And I would say just probably there's one rule that we have at Commercial Claims Advocate:
yeah.
Content Wednesday. Like, it doesn't matter if there's a war going on. It doesn't matter if the World Trade Center gets attacked. Like, literally nothing matters. If there's fires in California, we cannot miss a Wednesday. That's like the one rule that we have. So I would say consistency is key. And then whatever you feel most comfortable. Luckily, I had the travel channel and I learned how to shoot. I learned how to edit on Premiere Pro. I learned how to craft good attractive thumbnails. I just learned how to post on YouTube. Like, I just kind of learned the whole thing and just following a lot of like Casey Neistat and Mr. Beast and stuff like that, just learning about YouTube. So I had a little bit of experience. So I knew from the beginning I was going to go all in on YouTube because, again, like, people, when you search on Google, videos come out. Like, you could search public adjuster, and I don't think we've ever put an ad for Commercial Claims Advocate, and I'm all up on the first page just because I'm so heavily integrated into YouTube. I love YouTube. Like, it's just fun, man. YouTube is great, but everybody's afraid of it. I don't know why. Still to
Yeah.
this day.
That's pretty impressive though, that you've learned your own editing. You do your own thumbnails.
Well, I don't do it now.
Oh, okay. So you've delegated now. Okay, that's good to know.
Absolutely. Oh no, that was about 3 or 4 months in. I started to delegate
Wow,
that.
because that's a lot of work. I mean, that's
No,
not. Yeah.
yeah. But I knew how to do it. So, like, even like, I have a local videographer that I'll bring on, and me and him know how to talk shop. My
Yeah.
editor that I have, I know he uses Premiere Pro like I did, and I haven't used it in a long time. But man, I was embedded in that software for like almost a year. So, like, I already know sort of like how he's looking at it. I know how to color grade. I know how to adjust the sound. So we just sort of speak the same language,
Got
which
it.
is always good. Like, anything that you're doing, man, I don't know. I'm sure you run into it all the time. All these service guys, they hire marketing companies without any plans.
It's so sad, and so much money gets thrown away.
It's crazy. And obviously you have to take responsibility for it, but the marketing companies should, like, I don't know. I mean, they want their money. I get it. But as a business owner, you should have some idea of a marketing strategy before you go ahead and hire a marketing company, because it's like I said in the beginning, you know your business more than anything else. And if you're going to hire a marketing company, and I don't know why I brought that up, because with the video editing is the same. Like, I know exactly what I want because
Right.
I learned how to do it first.
Right.
Marketing's the same way. These guys just hire these marketing companies. They don't know the first thing about it.
One thing I've noticed in my own practice that I'm starting to do more of, if the company's large enough, is usually bring in a fractional CMO first, who will help with the strategy part of where you want to be, what you want to do, how you're going to do it, what's going to happen if you start triggering a bunch of leads, who's going to do that, what's that flow going to look like, where's the automation we can put in. Once you've done all that, then you bring in the agency, and the agency's under the thumb of the CMO, who's the expert. And unfortunately, oftentimes business owners don't have this expertise, but at least it's a little bit more managed. A lot of times with these agencies, there's easy entry into becoming an agency. So 9 out of 10 of them, my experiences are not that great or not that good, even, I would say. And they just go rogue. I mean, they just say they're doing a bunch of stuff for you, but it's not necessarily effective stuff. So that's kind of one way of tackling it. But I do agree with you. The more someone, I do love your philosophy of, hey, as owners, as much as we can know how to do it, and I do recommend as new owners a lot of times, do everything yourself for a while. Learn how to do it. Get to as much as to the level that you can comprehend and do it, and then delegate it, because you'll be so much more empowered when someone's not doing a good job or they're not following through. You'll know exactly what's a good job or what's not if you can follow that path.
It's such a beautiful situation that I'm in right now with all
Yeah.
the years.
Yeah.
Is like, I'm in it, like I'm creating these reports, these valuation reports. It's a valuation, it's a SWOT analysis, it's a history and overview. It is a roadmap to get you to your dream number. It is a
Wow.
valuation score. It's like 40 pages, right? I'm doing them all myself on purpose.
Right.
And I'm also recording myself on Loom doing it. Like, I'm putting in the work right now. But guess what? I'm creating the AI agent, which all this work that I've been putting in, I'm going to feed it into that, and that's supposed to work. But even if that doesn't work, I got my girl Jessa in the Philippines that works with me with other stuff. I just literally sent her a message. I'm like, what do you think? She's like, yeah, if you send me everything, I could probably do it just like you. So it's all about knowing what you want, knowing how to do it, knowing what you want, putting it onto paper. If you think that you're not going to be able, if you think, and again, guilty, right? If you think you're just going to be able to say, hey, create these reports for me, here's a couple reports, do it like this. That's not how it works. Like, there needs to be a step-by-step process on how to do that. And they need to see you doing it, either do it together. And you also need to give that person like a couple of months to really get it down, where, again, guilty as charged. Here, go ahead and do these reports. And then like you just walk away.
Yep.
And then you're upset that when you get back, the report is garbage, you know? So yeah, it's just funny how much you learn from experience and from mistakes and from success and everything else.
It's good stuff. It gets me jacked up hearing you making a report and your own agents and all this other stuff. I just have this vision of how cool that's going to be once you're done.
Oh, it's going to be done by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, before we wrap up, I definitely want to leave a little time here. Let's spend a few minutes about what you're doing now. I want to talk about, you've got some broker listings that you're working on. You're helping companies set up for exit. What does that mean exactly? What are you doing? What's your consulting look like? Can we spend a few minutes talking about that?
Yeah, so I don't know if I would. I'm a coach at heart.
Okay.
I was a tennis coach for 15 years. My mom was a guidance counselor at elementary school and a teacher. My uncle was a teacher and elementary school psychologist. Like, it's like in my blood to basically take complex subjects and simplify them so people could understand and show them how to do things. And I don't want to consider myself that here, but I'm always trying to find a way to give back. Try to give back and try to help people understand sort of the, again, 30,000 foot view of what I'm looking at. And the way I've been able to sort of strategically do that now with the business brokering is twofold. Number one is I don't want to get stuck in the trap of getting a listing, and the average listing, Tyler, takes 9 months to close. So now I'm put in the exact situation I was in as a public adjuster, where I'm not going to get paid for 9 months, and may even be more than 9 months. And I don't know how much exactly the company's going to sell. So now what does that do? You're a finance guy. It's going to make it much more difficult for me to understand my cash flow and understand when I'm going to get paid, how much I'm going to get paid. It just makes it much more difficult to predict revenue and predict your scalability. So I created a product. Right. And that's the product, which is the value clarity report. And in that report, I said, okay, if somebody's going to actually purchase this, because Tyler, you can go to a broker right now about your business. You can get yourself a valuation. Chances are he's not going to charge you because he wants the listing. Okay. But I'm going to give you that on steroids. I'm going to give you that SWOT analysis, roadmap, checklists, KPIs, quarterly checklists as well, and then an overall valuation score based on 3 things, which you know are very important: recurring revenue, owner dependency, and cash flow. And I'm going to give you an overall valuation. 40 pages per report, $3,000. I'm giving discounts now just because I'm trying to get more and more and more. And then from there, the sort of coaching consulting subscription model. Subscription model is basically, I'm going to update that report every single quarter. We're going to have monthly check-in calls to make sure that you're updating all your KPIs, just to make sure that you're keeping track with everything. And if you have any questions, it'll probably be in a group setting, but I do have a portal that we're creating that you can see to make sure that they're keeping track of it. And that's what I'm creating right now. That's what I'm doing these 6 months. I'm not even looking for listings. If a listing comes, I'm all in, but I know that those are going to come. And then basically in 2026, the goal there is probably more listings, but I'm also in this because I love business so much. I mean, I'm looking to acquire more companies. I'd like to acquire another company, maybe just be partners, not full in on it, and see what I can do with that. Mergers and acquisitions, man, I literally fell in love with it probably October of last year. And I'm just like, I'm all in on it. I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of value in what you're doing. I mean, obviously, you know that, but a lot of value in when people are considering selling or for whatever reason want to know the value or how want to pulse on it. Having something that's systematic approach like that is very cool.
Do you think?
I do.
I'm still trying to like level. I'm still trying to like gauge the audience to see if it's actually something that people want.
I think,
or is it just me making a hard sales pitch? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still.
I think where you put it on steroids is the follow up, the every 3 months or month or whatever you said, that time frame of, hey, these are the KPIs you want to be tracking. This is the updated. These are the things that you should be doing. Because the problem is that I see is a lot of people go to sell their business and they haven't set it up for business. It's like, selling a car. What's the first thing you do? You clean it up. You have someone interior, cleaner, all the interior vacuumed, washed. It looks spotless. It looks brand new again. People love that. They're going to pay more for it. Well, but they don't do that with businesses a lot of times. Like they just, okay, here's my financials. It showed I lost money last year, or
no bueno.
Whatever. The service is valuable. I think it's hard sometimes to get owners to realize, to think in advance, but giving them something tangible, I think, starts that conversation. I think it's a good idea. I really do.
Yeah. And that's why I tell people a business you can sell is a great business to own.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can build it this way, where you're not owner dependent, you have recurring revenue that you don't have to worry about cash flow now, and you've got cash flow, and you've got your systems and operations, like everything falls under that, and your marketing strategy and sales, and I can help with all that stuff. But ultimately, if you have a business that you can sell, you've basically built a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
So whether you decide to sell or not, it's running on its own anyway, and you could just keep, collecting the benefits from it.
Does cash flow have you down? Profit not where you think it should be? Maybe it's the long hours. Let's meet to see if I can help. I bridge driving the financial performance of your business to hit growth and success targets. Book a complimentary meeting at meetforgrowth.com to get started now. Once again, that's meetforgrowth.com. I look forward to talking with you. And thanks for listening to the show.
So whether you decide to sell or not, it's running on its own anyway, and you could just keep, collecting the benefits from it.
Yep. Great way to say it. Okay. Your website, vinceperri.com, VincePerri, right? .com is, and that'll be live by the time we go, this is published, so I have no problem announcing it. And then if the people want to reach out to you, I imagine LinkedIn is also a good spot. Is that correct?
LinkedIn's okay. I could do better. I post on LinkedIn. A lot of that stuff is automated, but the best way to contact me, honestly, is Instagram.
Okay.
I'm all in on Instagram. I love Instagram. So yeah, Instagram is the best way. Vince Perri Official.
Yeah, Vince Perri. In fact, you're for LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube, that is your handle for all three.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, cool. So that makes it very easy.
Yeah.
Cool. And then one other thing I just want to wrap up here. I love just a couple takeaways. I love the systems approach. I think that methodology is awesome. I love the profit first awareness and transparency. I think that's a great system. And just your energy in terms of, you seem to be the type of guy where you look for problems and then you're trying to find a solution to solve it. So I think that's something to take away from this.
I don't look for problems. I don't want problems. No, they just happened.
Okay, play on words, but hopefully you know what I mean.
The more you're trying to get after it, the more you're trying to better yourself, the more you're trying to scale and grow, and the more you're trying to do, if you don't have problems, then what are you doing? You're not growing, so.
Yeah, solve for problems. How's that? That better?
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's awesome to talk with you. Wish you the best of luck. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me on, Tyler. I really appreciate it.
So Vince shared some powerful lessons in this one. And I'll say what really stood out to me is just how dangerous it can be to blindly trust advisors. A good advisor doesn't just make decisions. They explain the logic, they help you understand the why, and they keep things simple. If you don't fully understand what they're doing, that's a big red flag. When new clients come to me, they're often bleeding cash, have gross profit margin issues, even if they don't realize it, and the financial info they do get is usually wrong or weeks late. If this sounds familiar, do yourself a favor and let's break the cycle. Let's have a quick intro meeting. You can book it at cfomadeeasy.com. That's cfomadeeasy.com. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week.
Electricast.